It all started on a Tuesday. Just an ordinary, forgettable Tuesday until a speeding truck ran a red light. I remember the squeal of tires, the blare of a horn, and a sudden, bone-jarring impact that wasn't a truck. It was a push impossibly strong, sending me sprawling onto the sidewalk. Safe. But there was no one there. I just felt a strange warmth, a faint scent like ozone after a storm, and then nothing. Nothing? I chalked it up to adrenaline, a trick of the mind, but that was only the beginning. After the accident, strange things started happening. A coffee mug tipping over, only to right itself midair. A dropped set of keys levitating back into my hand. At first, I was terrified. I thought I was losing my mind. That the near-death experience had broken something inside me. But the presence, this invisible force, never felt malevolent. It felt protective, curious. I started talking to it. To him. I don't know why I knew it was a him. I just did. I'd whisper into the empty air of my apartment. "Did you do that?" And I'd feel a gentle shift in the air, a soft caress against my cheek, like a silent yes. We developed a language of our own. A light touch on my arm meant be careful. A cool breeze indoors meant I'm here. A subtle vibration in the floor meant he was happy. I named him Echo. He was my secret, my silent companion. I'd read books aloud, and I could feel his focused attention. A stillness in the room that was more than just silence. I'd tell him about my day, my dreams, my fears. He was the best listener I'd ever known. The loneliness that had been my constant companion for years began to fade, replaced by a profound, inexplicable connection to someone I couldn't even see. One night, I was feeling particularly bold. I lit a candle and sat on the floor. "Echo," I whispered. "I wish I could see you, just once." The air grew heavy, and the candle flame flickered wildly. A fine dust from the ceiling began to drift down, illuminated by the single flame. Slowly, impossibly, the dust began to coalesce, outlining a shape. It was tall, slender, humanoid, but distinctly not human. The silhouette was elegant, with long limbs and a gracefully curved neck. It was just an outline in shimmering dust, but it was him. For a fleeting second, I saw the shape of a head turn towards me, and then the dust scattered, and he was gone. Or rather, the outline was gone. I could still feel his presence, now tinged with what felt like hesitation, maybe even fear. Our bond deepened. It went beyond companionship. It was an intimacy I'd never experienced. One evening, as I stood by the window watching the city lights, I felt that familiar warmth behind me. Primera Lea Ned Bark, closing my eyes, and for the first time, I felt a distinct pressure, a ghost of a touch on my lips. It was a kiss that sent a jolt through my entire body, a surge of emotion and energy that was both alien and deeply familiar. It was a kiss of pure love, untainted by physical form. In that moment, I knew I was in love with a shadow, a ghost, an echo in my life. I didn't care what he was or where he came from. He was my everything. The next morning, my world shattered. There was a knock at the door, not the gentle tap of a friend, but a hard, official rap. Two stern-faced agents in black suits stood on my doorstep. They didn't ask to come in. They just did. "Ma'am," the lead agent said, his eyes scanning every corner of my apartment. "We know he's here. We've been tracking him since his vessel crashed." My blood ran cold. "Who?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Don't play dumb," the other agent snapped. "The fugitive. The alien. We know he's made contact with you." They explained everything. Echo wasn't just an alien. He was a political refugee from a species capable of interdimensional travel and complete light refraction, making them invisible. His government had fallen, and he was on the run from a brutal regime that now had an alliance with powers on Earth. My government didn't want to help him. They wanted to capture him. They believed his biology held the key to advanced cloaking technology. They told me he was dangerous, a volatile unknown, But I knew better. I knew the gentle soul who righted my coffee mugs and kissed me like a whisper in the dark. "He's a fugitive, and you are harboring him," the lead agent stated, his voice devoid of emotion. "That makes you an accessory. However, we're willing to offer you a deal. Help us lure him out, help us capture him, and you walk away clean." They wanted to use me. They wanted to use our connection, our love, as bait for their trap. My mind reeled. They saw him as a specimen, a piece of technology. I saw him as the one who saved my life, the one who filled the emptiness inside me. I could feel Echo's presence in the room, a frantic, terrified energy I had never felt from him before. He was scared, not for himself, but for me. The agents laid out their plan. They would leave, but my apartment, my phone, my entire life would be under surveillance. All I had to do was call out to him, tell him it was safe, tell him I needed him. They were sure he'd reveal himself to save me from some staged threat they were planning. They wanted me to betray him. I stood there, the silence in the room deafening, torn between the world I knew and the love I couldn't see. They saw a choice between my freedom and his, but I knew it wasn't a choice at all. How could I betray the only being who had ever truly seen me? Even without eyes, my heart pounded in my chest. I looked towards the empty corner where I always felt him the strongest. I had to make a decision, and I knew, whatever I chose, my life would never be the same again. The agents were waiting for my answer, but they didn't realize the conversation I was having was a silent one, with the man who lived in the shadows. And we were about to run. What happens next? Will they escape? Or is this the end of their story? That all depends on what you want to see. This story is just beginning, and there are so many directions it could go. If you want to find out what happens to her and Echo, let me know in the comments. Your engagement truly helps create what comes next. Thanks so much for watching, and if you're hooked and want to be part of the journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss the next chapter. See you next time.